My name is Francis, and if you're new to this channel, consider hitting that subscribe button and that notification bell because I post a new video every single day. My mindfulness group coaching program is now open, so if you want to be part of the class, hit the link that's in the description box of this video because once the class is full, I'm not going to be taking on any more people and I'm going to close off enrollment. In this video, what I want to talk about is how to actually reprogram your unconscious mind, how to reprogram that program that's been playing in your mind automatically for your entire life. Because when it comes to reprogramming your mind, the one thing that I want you to understand right now is that you can't actually reprogram your mind from the unconscious mind. So you have to be very present to the moment if you want to actually reprogram your mind, because you can't reprogram your mind from a place of being unconscious. It's just not going to work. You're not going to be able to reprogram something in your mind unless you first become aware of the current program that's already running. Because we always tell ourselves a story about who we think we are and the personality of who we think we are. But these personality traits were developed and conditioned based on our upbringing, based on the way that we lived our life over the last couple of years. So you have to understand that if you want to reprogram your mind, you have to actually become conscious and develop conscious awareness of the current program that's already running. Because if you don't develop that conscious awareness and you don't make that the priority of how to reprogram your mind, but you make the priority using things like affirmations or just telling yourself certain things, that's not going to be allowing yourself to fully actually reprogram your mind in the way that you could be. Because if you want to actually reprogram your mind in the best way possible and tap into your true potential as the human being that you are, then it's very important to actually understand that developing conscious awareness is very important here. It's very important. So don't overlook this because the awareness is the most important thing, and I'm going to give you an example as to why, okay? If you become conscious of your breathing right now and you notice that you're breathing, notice how a second ago that was actually unconscious. Okay, so a second ago your breathing was happening automatically. Maybe you were noticing it, I don't know. But if you're noticing it now and it was unconscious a second ago, notice how a second ago that breathing was actually unconscious and now it's in your conscious awareness. So even though you didn't have conscious awareness of that breathing, that doesn't mean that the breathing wasn't still happening in the background. Your attention was just elsewhere, right? So the attention was probably in the thinking, you were probably thinking about something or whatever was going on in your awareness in that moment. So now that you're aware of your breathing, a second ago was unconscious. So that's the difference between being conscious and unconscious of something in your direct experience right now. Now that you notice that difference between consciousness and unconsciousness, I want you to consider this, okay? In that same way that you were just unconscious of your breathing until I told you to become conscious of it, is it also possible that you may also have thoughts that you were unconscious of, but they're always playing in the background of your mind the whole day? So even though you might not have conscious awareness of these thoughts that I'm telling you to notice right now, like maybe you don't notice them, but they're still happening. Maybe you don't have conscious awareness of these thoughts, but consider the fact that they may still be happening in the background controlling your life. Okay, consider that for a moment. Is it possible that maybe your unconscious mind is controlling you more than you think? Because most people don't believe that their unconscious mind is controlling them. But the problem is that if I was to ask you right now, how many thoughts do you have in the day that you're unconscious of? You would not be able to give me an answer because you're unconscious of them, just like you were unconscious of your breathing until I told you to become aware of it, right? You have to become conscious of that breathing first to notice that it was unconscious a second ago. So you're not going to know that you're being unconsciously controlled by your brain until you realize that you're unconsciously controlled by your brain. It's not even your brain, it's thoughts that are literally happening in your experience, thought forms, but you just don't know that they're happening. And those thoughts are controlling your reality. So in that same way that you were unconscious of your breathing, you might also have thoughts that are telling you things like, I'm not worthy, or I can't accomplish my goals, or I can't fully take action in the direction that I prefer. And even though you don't have conscious awareness of those thoughts, they are still playing in your head, you're unconscious of them, and they're still actually controlling your reality. So it's very important that you understand that actually having conscious awareness of those thoughts to begin with is the only way to reprogram them. It's the only way. You can't reprogram your mind if you don't have conscious awareness. Are you beginning to see how if you don't have conscious awareness of something, then you're not going to be able to control it? Like, are you seeing that? Because that's really, really important that you understand this. And it's the most critical understanding that you have to have if you want to reprogram your mind. Do you see how unless you actually have conscious awareness, then you can't reprogram your mind? Do you see how you can't reprogram something if you don't know the current program that's running? Are you noticing that? Because if you don't notice that, you're not going to be able to reprogram your mind in the way that you want. It's not going to work for you. So you have to understand this. Very, very important here. So meditation is a great way to do this, because when I started meditating over 4 years ago, what I learned is that I can kind of just be the observer of my thoughts rather than attached to them. Okay, my meditation technique goes really deep, and I'm going to be making a video on how to actually do that soon. But in a nutshell, part of the technique involves being the witness of your thoughts and not attaching to them. And when you can do this, you can kind of create spaciousness between who you really are and then the thoughts about who you think you are. Because your thoughts are always telling you a story about who you think you are, but those thoughts are not actually who you are. Very important here. Very important, because if you don't have conscious awareness of that, then that's going to be controlling your life and you won't even know. It's because our mind is always telling us things like, I'm not worthy, or I can only make $5,000 a month, or I can only do this, or I'm not confident. Like, we think that's just who we are. We attach to this identity that we've created for ourselves. We create this identity from our childhood to, this present moment in time, and we believe that's just who we are. But we don't realize that it's almost like this identity that we've created based on the conditioning of the culture that we're living in, and then external influences that were placed on us. That, it's not like somebody did this to you on purpose, but look, when you're a little kid, you're like a sponge. You sort of just absorb everything. So it's very important to keep in mind that when you grow, as you grow a little bit older, like from childhood to now, you are kind of sucking everything in like a sponge, and that is developing your identity of who you think you are. And so that's going to be the programming that you have in your mind. So if you want to reprogram that, you have to become conscious of the fact that you were conditioned to begin with and what that conditioning is saying. And you have to question this a little bit. Like, are those thoughts that you tell yourself about who you think you are actually who you are? Because those thoughts are not who you are at a deeper level. Like, if you tell yourself things like, I'm not confident, that's just a thought form kind of playing in your head on repeat, telling you things about who you are, and you're going to identify with that thought. Identify meaning that you create an identity over that thought. You're going to be like, oh, that's just who I am. I'm not confident. I can't be a confident person. And you're going to attach to that identity, that thought form, creating your identity. So if you want to reprogram this, you have to have the awareness. You're not going to be able to reprogram all that conditioning, all that cultural conditioning from the outside, people telling you things. Maybe something happened in your childhood where, something happened in your past where you realized that you're not worthy because somebody made fun of you when you were in class, for example. Let's say there's a little kid and he's in class and little Johnny was made fun of, and then ever since he believes that he's not worthy enough to go talk to people because he believes that he has a lack of self-worth. But you see how the self-worth issue has all to do with his internal mindset and the programming. It's all just programming. But Johnny believes that that's just who he is, like he doesn't have self-worth. So that's a serious issue. It's a very serious issue that you have to become conscious of to actually let go of. You have to be conscious of this. You can't just agree with me. If you just believe me right now, that's not going to do anything for you. You want to actually develop that awareness to the point where you can go throughout your day and actually be conscious of your thoughts as you live your life. Because it starts with the meditation, and that's the foundation for all of this work. But the key is when you can actually take that foundation of presence and meditation and then bring it into your life and live from that space. Because if you can live from that space, now you're in a position to actually notice the thoughts that you're thinking as you live your life. Because most people try to do just a little bit of meditation and then, some affirmations, and they think that's just it, and that there you go, I'm reprogramming my mind. But it goes a lot deeper than that, because if you're just meditating 20 minutes a day, and that's an amazing habit, don't get me wrong, that's where it starts, but then you're not setting the intention to live your life from that alignment of being present to the moment, then it's not going to work for you. So you have to understand that when it comes to, reprogramming your mind, this goes a lot deeper than just 20 minutes of meditation or, affirmations for 10 minutes a day, or even while you sleep the whole night. Like, that's going to be useful for you. But can you live your life as the witnessing presence of your thoughts is the serious question. Can you align yourself internally with who you truly are every single moment? Because what you'll find is that as you go deeper into this work, your life literally becomes a meditation. Your life becomes a meditation because every moment is an opportunity to actually be present to the moment. But most people don't see that. They just think that it's about, becoming conscious for 20 minutes a day, and then that's it, and that's over. And then the rest of the day I can go back to my unconscious habits. And you can do that if you want, but it's not going to allow you to reprogram your mind. So it's very important that you learn how to actually develop awareness of your mind and what your mind is telling you and the current program if you want to reprogram it. And this goes a lot deeper than just reprogramming your mind. This goes into how to actually live a fulfilling life of happiness and joy, where you're not consumed by your thoughts and pulling you in all the time. Or that there's that conditioned part of your brain in your mind, not really your brain, it's just your own thoughts in your experience that you're attached to. That part of your mind usually controls our experience a lot. And we're not very connected to the experience. We're not connected to this now moment, but we're in some fairy tale dreamland in our mind. And then it's actually blocking us from enjoying the fullness of the moment, because the moment is pretty awesome if you know how to connect to it. When you can connect deeper to the present moment, you can really be in tune with your senses a lot more. You can really be in tune with the present moment. You can feel your body more, feel your breath more. Literally, your sense perceptions will be heightened the more present to the moment you become. Literally, that's what it means to become more conscious. You will literally have sense perceptions that are stronger than they were before if you weren't that conscious. Literally, you're more present to the moment, you're more conscious. Okay, so it's very important that you understand that this goes much deeper than just reprogramming your mind. Because the deeper you go into this work, you'll find that living your life from this space is going to give you incredible benefits that you would not have if you weren't present to the moment. And one of those benefits is reprogramming your mind. Okay, so that's pretty much it. If you want to reprogram your mind, make your number one goal to actually become aware and become present to the moment and go deeper into the stillness of who you are. Try to do a little bit of meditation. I'm going to be making a video on that soon, where you can actually live your life as the witness. Become conscious of the thoughts that you tell yourself throughout the day. Because if you're just using affirmations, but then you're not actually conscious of the thoughts that you're thinking throughout the day, then that's not going to be how you reprogram your mind. So what I suggest is that you do something like a daily meditation habit for 20-30 minutes a day. But if you can't do that, then at least start noticing the thoughts that you're telling yourself. Okay, and that's just the beginning, because that's a survival-based mindset. A survival-based mindset is, okay, I'm just going to become a little bit more conscious of my thoughts and kind of take this half seriously. But if you really want to become your greatest version and reach your full potential, then you want to step out of that survival mindset, meditate every single day, and then choose to live your life as much as you can as the conscious witnessing presence of your thoughts, rather than be identified with your thoughts. That's a completely different place to be living your life from that will radically change the entire, direction of the life that you live. My life completely changed the last 4 or 5 months of my life alone. Like, I've been doing this for almost 4 years, but just the last 4 months alone, my life has radically shifted, living my life from this place of presence, rather than just using it as a survival mechanism, 20 minutes a day, like I'm going through my unconscious day, and then I just use that meditation to, cope with the stressors of life. I've aligned myself from that present moment, and I followed what my heart actually wanted. When you can connect to that part of yourself, your life will move faster than you can believe, and your mind will start to reprogram in the process. So that's what I have for you today. If you like this kind of content, hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe button, because I post a new video every single day. Once again, my mindfulness group coaching program is now open. So if you want to be part of the class, hit that link that's in the description box of this video, because once the class is full, I'm not actually going to be taking on any more people, because I don't want to teach more than a certain amount of people in the class. So if you like this kind of content, hit that like button so more people can see this kind of information and learn how to reprogram their mind in the true way, to how you can actually reprogram your mind from being present. So hit that like button if you like this kind of information. That's all I have for you today. Have yourself a great day, and see you in the next video.